Okay, look. Picture the scene. It's February 2026. The holidays are a completely distant memory. The gray skies are just kind of lingering, and you go to your mailbox. Or, more likely, you open that specific promotions tab in your email that you usually ignore. And there it is, the arrival.
The arrival. You make it sound like some kind of alien invasion movie or a prophecy.
Well, for millions of people, it basically is. I am talking about the annual Costco reward certificate. It shows up exactly once a year, this big lump sum of cash back. And for a decade, people have treated this moment like a secondary holiday. Look, honey, free money, we're rich.
Right, the February windfall.
Yeah, but I was looking at mine this morning, staring at that little barcode, and I didn't feel like celebrating. I felt like I needed to ask some really uncomfortable questions.
And that is exactly why we are here. We aren't just celebrating a coupon today. We're doing a full forensic audit on what used to be called the executive secret weapon.
The Costco Anywhere Visa Card by Citi.
Exactly.
Because the question gnawing at me is whether this piece of plastic is still the best choice for what we call grocery hedging in 2026. Or is it just a legacy habit we are all too lazy to break because, we really like the $1.50 hot dogs?
It is a totally fair question.
Okay.
The retail landscape has shifted significantly over the last few years. We have competitors offering very aggressive rates. We have high-yield savings accounts fundamentally changing the value of holding cash. And, frankly, the definition of value has just evolved.
It has. And our mission for this deep dive is simple. We are following the Daily Fiscal philosophy. Math over marketing. We are going to tear this value proposition apart. I'm skeptical, frankly. I think there are massive holes in the boat.
And I am here to defend the data. Because while I agree the landscape has changed, I think there are some specific numbers, especially regarding inflation and fuel volatility, that might just keep this card in the heavyweight division.
All right, let's unpack this. We have the sources, we have the latest terms and conditions, we have the calculators ready. And just a quick note for you listening, we aren't going to promise that you will save some specific exact dollar amount today.
Right, your mileage literally will vary.
Exactly. It depends on your mileage, your spending habits, all of that. So we are going strictly by conditional math. If your math looks like X, your result is Y. So where do we start?
We have to start with the multiplier audit. We need to look at what this card actually pays you for swiping it. And I am going to come out swinging here. This card is still the undisputed gas king.
The gas king in 2026. With EV adoption where it is right now, that feels like a title from, 28.
No, look at the fine print. You're getting 4% cash back on eligible gas and, crucially, EV charging.
Ah, the EV edition.
Right, that EV edition is vital. That 4% is capped at $7,000 to spend per year, sure. But think about the current economic climate. Fuel prices are volatile. They are up, they are down, they are mostly just up.
That is true. If you are commuting, every single time that pump clicks or the charger engages, it stings a little bit.
Exactly. So for a family driving, let's say, 2 SUVs or a mix of a hybrid and a gas vehicle, covering about 15,000 miles a year, that category alone is generating significant rewards.
Yeah.
We're talking over $250, maybe $280 a year just for filling up the tank or plugging in.
Which is real money.
It is. And it isn't just rewards. That is a hedge against the market itself. When gas prices spike, your 4% return goes up in absolute dollars.
Okay, I will grant you the gas argument. 4% is a solid number, and including EV charging is absolutely necessary for survival in 2026. But here is where it gets really interesting, and by interesting, I mean incredibly frustrating. We call this the Costco paradox.
I have a feeling I know exactly where you were going with this.
You absolutely do. This is a co-branded store card. It literally has the word Costco printed on the front. It doubles as your membership ID with your photo on the back. And yet, when I walk into the warehouse, navigating those giant carts, dodging the sample stations for the mini tacos, and I finally swipe this card in a register, what do I actually earn?
You earn 2%?
2%. That is absurd. Explain to me how a card explicitly designed to ensure loyalty, offers such a low rate for the store itself.
It is a unique strategy, I will admit that. The argument from their side has always been that the margins on the merchandise are so incredibly thin that they just can't afford to give higher credit card rewards on top of the bulk discount.
That sounds like pure marketing spin to me. It is not unique. It is weak. There are generic cards out there right now, cards that do not require you to pay a membership fee that offer 2% cash back on absolutely everything.
Like the Wells Fargo Active Cash.
Yes. Or the Citi Double Cash. You can take those cards, buy a sofa, buy a coffee, or buy a pallet of baked beans, and you get 2%. The Costco card demands loyalty but does not pay a premium for it inside its own warehouse.
That is a valid criticism. And let's not forget the 1% on everything else. In a world where inflation has raised the floor on everyday prices, earning only 1% on your dentist bill or your car repair feels like you are actively losing money.
You are losing money. You are losing against inflation. It is a mathematical certainty.
However, you are glossing over the other bonus categories. It is not just gas and groceries. You get 3% on restaurants and eligible travel.
Which is fine. I mean, 3% on dining is pretty standard for a mid-tier card these days.
It is more than fine for a no annual fee card, assuming you already pay for the membership, of course. But if you are a family that wants a single card solution, and let's be honest, a lot of people listening do not want to carry 5 different pieces of plastic and remember which one to use for dining versus hotels versus gas, that 3% makes this a very strong contender.
For the one slot in the wallet award.
Exactly. It covers your commute, your dinner, your vacation, and your bulk goods.
So it is the minivan of credit cards. It does everything okay, but nothing exciting except for the gas mileage.
That is a harsh but very fair analogy.
But I am not letting you off the hook on the warehouse earning rate yet. We are going to circle back to that when we talk about alternatives. First, we have to address the elephant in the room. The actual reason I was grumpy looking at my email this morning.
The payout structure.
The February reward trap. Let's talk about it. Because I think this is where math over marketing really needs to be ruthlessly applied.
Trap is a strong word, don't you think?
Is it? Walk me through the mechanics. In 2026, how do most modern cashback cards work? If I use a standard Chase card or an Amex, when do I get my money?
Well, typically once your billing cycle closes, your points or your cashback post to your account, you can redeem them as a statement credit, deposit them into your bank, or use them on Amazon, usually within a few days or weeks.
Right. Immediate gratification, or at least monthly gratification. Now, how does Costco do it?
They issue a single reward certificate once a year in February for the rewards earned during the entire previous calendar year.
Exactly. So let's play this out. If I buy a patio set in March of 2025, I earn my rewards then. But I do not see that money until February 2026. Citi is effectively holding my money interest-free for nearly 12 months.
From a time value of money perspective, you are completely correct. You are giving a massive financial institution an interest-free loan.
And we aren't in a zero-interest world anymore. That is the key. We are in a 4.5% interest rate environment. High-yield savings accounts are paying out real money every month.
That is the critical context for 2026. The math changes when interest rates are high.
So let's do the math for the listener. If you earn $1,000 in rewards over the year, which is a lot, but totally possible for a heavy spender or a small business owner, and you have to wait up to a year to get it, what is the actual opportunity cost?
If you had that money flowing into a high-yield savings account monthly, instead of waiting for the lump sum, you are losing roughly $25 to $30 in interest, depending on when your big spending months hit during the year.
$25. Now, I know some people listening are thinking, come on, it is $25. Who really cares? But we are fiscal realists. That is a free lunch. That is a streaming subscription for a month and a half. Why are you donating that to the bank?
I see your point. It is an efficiency leak. But let me play devil's advocate for a second, because the sources we reviewed touch on this too. There is a psychological component here. I have seen the data on consumer behavior, and some people actually like the forced savings aspect of this card.
Oh, come on. Forced savings.
No, really. Think about it. If they get $20 or $50 back every month, it just disappears into the checking account. It gets swallowed by the electric bill or a random coffee run. You don't feel it. But getting a $600 check in February, that feels like a windfall.
It feels substantial.
Right. It pays for a vacation. It buys a new appliance. It feels like a real reward.
It feels substantial because our brains are fundamentally bad at math. It is not savings if the bank is making the interest, not you. It is just delayed reimbursement. It is like finding a $20 bill in your winter coat pocket. It is really nice in the moment, but it was your money the whole time. You just forgot you lent it to your coat.
Fair point. Mathematically, you are dead right. But behaviorally, that February windfall keeps a massive amount of members loyal to the card. They look forward to it. It is a ritual.
Well, I look forward to compound interest. But let's pivot. We have bashed the payout structure and the in-store rate. But you mentioned something earlier about grocery hedging, and the Daily Fiscal puts a ton of weight on this exact concept. What does that actually look like in practice in 2026?
This is where we have to zoom out. We can't just look at the credit card in a total vacuum. We have to look at the entire Costco ecosystem. In 2026, grocery inflation has somewhat stabilized, but the baseline prices are still historically high. Grocery hedging is the strategy of using bulk buying to permanently lower your per-unit cost on essentials.
So buying the 50-pound bag of rice instead of the little cardboard box.
Precisely. The data shows that bulk shopping at warehouse clubs typically reduces per-unit cost by 15 to 20%, compared to standard supermarkets like Whole Foods or Safeway. That is your core hedge against inflation.
Okay, so how does the credit card fit into that strategy? Let's get to the number.
Let's run a scenario. Let's say we have a listener spending $1,000 a month at Costco.
Which is very easy to do. That is like 2 trips if you're buying meat and diapers.
True. So $1,000 a month. First, you have the direct savings. By shopping at Costco versus a regular grocery store, you are saving roughly $200 in unit costs. That is money you simply didn't spend.
Got it. Layer 1 is the $200.
Layer 2 is the executive membership. If you are spending that much, you absolutely should be an executive member. That gives you a 2% reward on your spend. That is $20 a month.
Layer 2, $20 back.
Layer 3 is the Costco Visa. You swipe the card, you get another 2%. That is another $20.
Okay, so let's tally that whole stack up.
Total monthly win is the $200 in savings, plus $20 from the membership, plus $20 from the card. That is $240 a month in value. Over a year, that is a $2,880 annual win for your family budget.
See, when you say it like that, nearly $3,000 a year, it sounds amazing. It makes the card look like an absolute hero in the wallet.
It is a very compelling ecosystem when you stack it.
But wait, stop right there. Let's deconstruct that stack for a second. The direct savings come from shopping at Costco, not from using the Visa. I get that $200 in savings if I pay with cash, a debit card, or a completely different credit card.
That is technically true.
And the executive membership reward, that $20, I get that regardless of what card I swipe, as long as I'm an executive member.
Correct.
So the actual contribution of this specific deep dive subject, the Costco Anywhere Visa itself, is just that final $20. It is literally contributing 1/12 of the total value you just pitched.
When you isolate it strictly like that, yes, it is a small slice of the pie. It is the icing, not the cake.
And this brings me to my main argument. If I swap that card out, if I use a card that actually respects the warehouse category, couldn't I do a lot better?
You absolutely could. The Daily Fiscal philosophy highlights this exact optimization. If you used a card like the Citi Custom Cash, which can adapt to your top spend category, or the Venmo Visa.
Wait, the Venmo Visa? Why that one specifically?
It is a weird quirk of the financial system.
Oh.
The Venmo Visa offers 3% back on your top spend category, and often wholesale clubs strictly categorize grocery in that specific card. So you get 3% instead of Costco's own 2%.
Or even some of the rotating category cards, like the Chase Freedom Flex. That hit 5% for an entire quarter on warehouse clubs.
Right. If you bump that 2% return up to 3% or even 5%, you're looking at an extra $10 to $30 a month. Over a year, switching cards could add another $300 to your overall hedge without changing your shopping habits at all.
Boom. That is the fiscal realist talking. Why leave $300 on the table just because the card has the store's logo printed on it?
It is a very strong argument for optimization. But, and there is always a but, in these scenarios we have to talk about the competition. Because Costco isn't the only game in town when it comes to warehouse hedging.
Ah, yes. The blue team. Sam's Club.
In 2026, the rivalry is intense. And if we look at the raw numbers for their credit card, the Sam's Club MasterCard, it is putting up a serious fight against the Costco Visa.
What are the exact stats? Give me the breakdown.
For Sam's Club Plus members, which is their equivalent to the executive tier, the card offers 5% cash back on gas.
5%. So it flat out beats Costco's 4%.
It does. And crucially, it offers 3% back on club purchases.
Ouch. That is the killer right there. Costco is stubbornly stuck at 2%, and Sam's is giving 3% on the inside.
Mathematically, in the 2026 landscape, the Sam's Club card just wins on the spreadsheet. If you have a Sam's Club nearby, and you aren't emotionally tied to the Costco brand specifically, maybe you don't care about the Kirkland signature products, the math is simply superior.
That is a tough pill to swallow for the die-hard Costco fans, and I know they are out there listening right now. I see them in the food court. They are fiercely loyal.
There is one saving grace for the Costco card, though. One specific thing that Sam's Club and many other generic cashback cards do not offer.
What is that?
No foreign transaction fees.
Ah, the travel perk.
It is huge. If you are a family that travels internationally even just once a year, or if you regularly buy things online from overseas vendors, those fees on other cards are usually around 3%. The Costco card completely waives them.
That is a really good point. So if you are taking a road trip to Canada or flying to Europe or buying specialized software from a company in London, the Costco card is a very safe bet to keep in your pocket. The generic 2% cards often hit you with that foreign fee, which wipes out your rewards instantly.
Exactly. So, based on all of this, we really have a split verdict forming here.
It feels like we have two completely different user profiles. Let's break down the scenario so you, the listener, can figure out exactly where you
We
stand.
do. Scenario A is what we will call the loyal member.
Okay, the loyal member. This is someone who is already happily paying for the executive membership. They drive an SUV or a large truck. They fill up exclusively at Costco gas because they love the price and the convenience.
Right. For this person, keeping the card is a no-brainer. It streamlines the wallet. You get the 4% on gas, which is excellent. You get the 3% on dining. It is simple. It works. The Gas King title genuinely holds up for them.
Okay, I will accept that. Now, scenario B, the reward maximizer.
This is your crowd.
Guilty as charged.
This is the person who ruthlessly shops around. Maybe they go to Costco for bulk paper towels and meat, but they go to Trader Joe's for produce. They spend way more on actual physical goods than on gas. They probably have a spreadsheet for their monthly budget.
For this person, the Costco card is kind of dead weight, isn't it?
I wouldn't go as far as dead weight, but it is definitely suboptimal. If you are chasing the absolute maximum return, you want a category-agnostic card. You want a Chase Freedom Flex or a Discover It card that treats warehouse clubs with the respect they deserve by giving them that 5% quarter. Or a flat 2.5% or 3% card if you can find one that codes correctly.
Because getting a flat 2% at the store just isn't enough to justify the hard pull on your credit report to open the account. And waiting a full year for the cash is just mathematically insulting for a maximizer.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now, maybe standing in your kitchen, looking at that reward certificate, wondering if you should cancel the card or keep it for another year?
We can't give a simple binary yes or no recommendation because personal finance is entirely personal, but we can offer a wholesale action plan.
I love an action plan. Let's give them the 4 questions they need to ask themselves right now to calculate their own yield.
Question number 1 is the gas audit. Look at your statements from the last few months. Is your gas spend over $200 a month?
If the answer is yes, the 4% reward is likely your biggest win. That is the anchor of this card. If you drive an EV or a gas guzzler, the card pays for itself right here. If you work from home and drive a very old Prius a few miles a week, maybe not.
Question number 2 is the membership check. Are you an executive member?
This is crucial to understand. Remember, the card's 2% in-store stacks with the executive membership's 2%. If you are just a standard Gold Star member, you are leaving money on the table. But frankly, if you aren't an executive member, the credit card becomes even less impressive because you don't have that combined 4% return on store purchases. You are just getting a flat 2%. You can get that literally anywhere.
Question number 3 is the look back. This is for everyone holding that physical certificate right now. Look at the number printed on it. Was it worth the wait?
You have to be totally honest with yourself here. If that certificate is under $100, was it really worth letting Citi hold your cash for a year? If it is a small amount, you are almost certainly better off with a card that pays out monthly, so you can actually use the money to pay your active bills or invest it.
And finally, question number 4 is the geography check. Is Sam's Club closer to your house?
The ultimate betrayal.
But seriously, run the logistics. If Sam's is 5 minutes away and Costco is 20 minutes in heavy traffic, and Sam's offers 5% on gas and 3% in store, the math wins. Geography is destiny in the grocery game. Do not drive past a 5% return to sit in line for a 4% return.
You know, what is truly fascinating to me is that for a decade, this card was the absolute default. It was the expert pick on every finance blog. But in 2026, it feels like it is resting on its laurels a bit.
It is the classic innovator's dilemma. They had a great product, but the overall market caught up. Now, it is a specific tool for a very specific job, mostly gas and international travel, rather than the ultimate everything card it used to be.
So the real takeaway is this. Do not let the brand loyalty blind you to the math. Just because you love the $1.50 hot dog does not mean you have to blindly love the credit card.
The hot dog is a loss leader for them. Don't let your credit card rewards be a loss leader for you.
Ooh, I like that. Don't let your rewards be a loss leader.
Oh, yeah.
That is going on a t-shirt. I am wearing it to the food court next time.
I will start working on the design. But before we wrap up, we should leave you with one final thought to mull over. Something that goes beyond just the current cashback rates.
Oh, I know exactly where this is going. The underlying contract.
Yes. Think about the history here. Remember when Costco exclusively accepted American Express? People built their entire credit strategies around that Amex card. And then, suddenly, the contract ended. Costco dropped Amex, partnered with Visa and Citi, and millions of people had their accounts transitioned or closed.
It was pure chaos. People lost their credit histories associated with those specific cards, or they were forced into a new banking ecosystem they didn't necessarily want.
Exactly, and co-branded contracts eventually expire. Citi isn't guaranteed this spot forever. If you put all your spending on this one co-branded card, you are tying your credit score and your financial data to a corporate partnership that could end tomorrow over a dispute about merchant fees.
That is a chilling thought for a fiscal realist. Relying too heavily on a store card means you don't actually own your financial foundation, the retailer does. You are just renting space in their ecosystem.
Something to think about the next time you're deciding between a generic bank card and a store-branded one.
All right, that is a wrap on our audit of the Costco Anywhere Visa. We really want to know what you think. Did you get your certificate? Was it a trap or a treat? And have you hacked the grocery hedge with a completely different card stack?
Check the numbers, run your own audit, and see if you can beat the 2% paradox.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Keep your math tighter than the marketing, and we will catch you in the next one.
Happy shopping.